Baddest man on the planet. It's a hell of a title, right? If you can get it. Um, Ngannou versus Fury, Fury versus Ngannou boxing match, 10 rounds, Saudi Arabia, mid-October, I believe. The fight is on. Uh, Personally, I'm not against the fight or the event, right? I think it's a pretty cool event. I think it's a pretty cool concept. And I'm just mad at the promoters, to be honest with you, because I feel like they've totally missed a trick in the way that this event could have been promoted. This event could have been huge, and the boxing fans could have been really happy with it, and the MMA fans could have been really happy with it, and it could have been a positive for both fighters' profiles, and and done really good business. But instead, I feel like it's still, they're still making guaranteed money from the Saudi Skills Challenge outfit, but the reputation of both fighters and camps has gone down, right? And if anything, it's helped the competitors within their respective sports improve their reputation. I'll talk to you why, right? Okay, cast yourselves back here, cast your minds back to December last year. Okay, so we're talking like 6, 7 months. Fury's just fought Chisora in Tottenham Stadium like late October, sorry, late December, just before Christmas, in a voluntary defense. And imagine he gets on the mic in a post-fight interview and says, I've conquered boxing. Now I want to prove I'm the baddest man on the planet. Francis Ngannou, where you at, bitch, or whatever, Fury tends to come out with. And then, like 2 weeks later, January 1st, Francis Ngannou's contract with the UFC expires, right? So they had promotional rights on him that were expiring at the end of the calendar year. So January 1st, Francis Ngannou comes out and says, I'm a, I'm a free man. I'm free from the UFC. I want to prove I'm the baddest man on the planet. Tyson Fury, where you at, bitch? Yeah. And I know that that's like not a very good Cameroonian accent, yeah. But hey, we're rolling with it. Don't cancel me. And yeah, Francis Ngannou comes out and says, "Yo, I'm a free agent," and they announce the fight straight away, straight off the bat, right? As soon as Francis is free, he wants to prove he's the baddest man on the planet. Fury comes out and says that's what he wants to do as soon as he beats Chisora. And the hype train then begins for maybe like a March or April fight. Yeah. And then, even though John Jones fights for the vacant title, no one takes that seriously because people still consider Francis the champ. Yeah. And as soon as he becomes free, he's like, bang, I'm going to deal with Fury and then I'm going to come back to MMA. So that fight, no matter what the result is, even though Jones might look $1 million, that has to fly under the radar now. And then the boxing fans, they're looking at it thinking, all right, well, Fury just fought in December. He's announced his next fight 2 weeks later. We're not having to wait that much. He's going to fight in March. The summer fight against Usyk can still happen. Yeah. So the boxing fans are chilling as well, because you don't expect to see a boxer fight more than like every 6 months. So everyone's willing to get behind the hype of this fight to find out who's the baddest man on the planet. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. Yeah. What happened was, boom, like Ngannou's contract expired. He became a free agent. The first thing he started doing was renegotiating a new deal with the UFC. So he was trying to make a deal with the UFC, or the UFC were trying to make a deal with him. And they were negotiating throughout January, February, right? And it turned out that there was a deal on the table for 3 fights with a 25 or 24 million guarantee, 8 million a fight, yeah, rising to potentially 10 million a fight. So between 25 to $30 million for 3 fights, yeah. The first two of those were going to be John Jones, yeah. So the pound for pound GOAT against the heavyweight champ, yeah. And then the third fight potentially against either Stipe Miocic or Cyril Gane, depending on what happens between them two. And he ultimately turned it down, which he's within his rights to do. But the fact is, they were negotiating. There was a deal on the table for Francis Ngannou to defend his heavyweight crown against the greatest of all time, John Jones, stepping up to heavyweight. Okay. And it's a similar dynamic between Fury and Usyk, who are also negotiating over the same time period, right? To make a fight between arguably the pound for pound king in Usyk, right? He's already cleaned up a cruiserweight, stepped up, unified a heavyweight, right? And so, I mean, something that still hasn't been achieved. Potentially, Terence Crawford could do it, but to be undisputed in two weight classes, yeah, undefeated, undisputed in two weight classes, and that fight couldn't get made, yeah. There was talk of like Fury being offered, would have been made something like 60, $70 million. First 50-50 wasn't enough, then 60-40 wasn't enough, then he offered 70-30 and Usyk said cool, then he said no rematch clause and Usyk said cool. So you're getting 70-30, right? And then it was the case that Fury wanted a rematch clause where even if he loses, he's still making like 60-40. So, you're making 70-30 to begin with. And even if you lose, you're still taking the lion's share of the rematch, right? It just got to up, and then Fury just turned around and said, there's no money fighting Usyk. He's a bum, no good foreigner, right? So both guys now look if you think about the boxing fans, the boxing fans feel like Fury ducked Usyk. The MMA fans, the hardcore MMA fans, feel like Ngannou ducked Jones. Yeah, there was a deal on the table, for both guys, which would have constituted their career highest payday, to fight the pound for pound best in their sport. Yeah, John Jones and Usyk. Yeah, considered by many to be the best pound for pound fighters in their respective sports. And the heavyweight kings turned down career high paydays, to face them. Okay. And they're fannied about pretty much all year. Now they're going to end up fighting in October, which means they're not fighting again for the rest of the year, which means the only fight that they've had, all year is essentially an exhibition. That makes it seem like they've ducked it. They're ducking. I mean, they're fighting each other because they don't want to fight. I mean, the real dogs in their sport. Yeah, it looks like they're desperate and they need each other. They're fighting each other because they're scared, which is a whole different sales pitch and a whole different dynamic to what this could have been. Yeah. So am I going to watch it anyway? Yes. Right. Am I excited about it the way I would have been if they just come out and announced it in January? Right. No. Do I feel like, if anything, John Jones's fucking mystique and Usyk's mystique has gone up by the fact that these guys are fighting each other and it looks like they're avoiding? Yeah, I do think so. So, I mean, Ngannou, if he's making crazy dough, if he's making more than the 8 million than he was offered, I get it, right? I get it. Like, fuck how it looks for the promoters. If you're making guaranteed money, like the Saudis are just cutting you a check. Like, it doesn't matter how the pay-per-view performs, you're just getting your money, and you're getting like 16 to 24 million. Like, say if you was offered a 3-fight deal for 25 million, let's say, and you're getting that whole 25 for this one fight, then I get it. You played a blinder. But if you're getting like 8 million or something, sorry, Ngannou and your team, you've made the wrong decision. Like, you really, really have. Like, this is some bullshit, because you're going to get slapped up here. And then your value, your market value to then go back into MMA is going to have gone down remarkably, because people are now looking towards John Jones. He's fighting Stipe Miocic in November, I think, in New York. And so, by the time you could end up getting bashed up by Fury, and now everyone's looking forward to Jones and Miocic, and people have forgotten about you. You know what I mean? So your future value is God knows what, right? And Fury, I think he's getting dough, but I don't think he's getting what he was offered to fight Usyk. I think to fight Usyk in December, you know what I mean, on this big Saudi card, according to Eddie Hearn, he was offered 70, 80 mil, and he wasn't on it. He wanted to fight Ngannou. So given that Usyk has signed a skills challenge, I don't think they would have offered him more to not fight Usyk than to fight Usyk. So I think he's getting less than that, right? I'm sure he's still getting good dough, but I don't think he's getting what he would have thought to fight Usyk. But at the end of the day, for Fury, it's just free money, right? So even if it's like 20, 30, 40 mil, you know, that's just free money. And then he can always fight Usyk afterwards. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Still a good event. If Francis is getting like at least 16, then I understand. If he's getting less than that, I don't. But yeah, I mean, these Saudis have just got money to throw away. You know what I mean? It's like it's going out of fashion. So yeah, that's my take on it, man. Peace.